Hello and welcome. Today I've got for you more keyboard reviews. So today I've got two, not one, but two Epomakers, the EK68, both with different kinds of switches, different keycaps, and different color combinations. So we'll get these unboxed, have a look at what the EK68 has to offer, talk a little bit about what is the difference between the other lineups, in particular the EK line from Epomaker. We'll show you the key color combinations, we'll talk about the switches and the features of those switches, and of course we'll give you guys a typing test and how the actual thought and the sound of these keyboards is like before we conclude with what the value is for these EK68 65% hot swap mechanical tri-mode connectivity keyboards. Alright, let's begin one by one here and get both of these keyboards unboxed, EK68. So the main difference between these two keyboards, other than the keycap styles, is of course the switches. As I mentioned, one of these is running the Budge Rigger Epomaker tactile switches, and the other one is using the more linear Flamingo switches that I've reviewed before on my channel and with other Epomaker keyboards as well. So let's get these unboxed. We'll pop open to all of the accessories laid out with each of these keyboards, have an initial look before we move on to the rest of the review. Alright, so as is typical for most Epomaker keyboards, they come with a fair set of accessories here, nice bundled tools that you can use with the keyboards here. So beginning with both of these, we've got literature. So this is the Epomaker EK68, as I've already mentioned. They both differ in switches and of course the keycap styles. And of course here again, we have another manual here. Both of them are bundled with some nice accessories, so you get these key puller slash switch puller as well, but bundled with both of these keyboards. You also get some spare keys here for this Epomaker EK68, and with this one here you just get some extra spare switches here with the Epomaker EK68. These are the Flamingo switches, and then these ones here, the blue, are the tactile Budge Rigger switches. We'll talk more about the actual specifics of these switches in just a moment. We also get included a nice braided USB type A to C cable with both of these keyboards and with this one here as well. So a nice included touch. I know it only costs these companies a few cents to provide these cables, but it's nice to have a full bundle of accessories along with the keyboards when you purchase them. Alright, now let's take a look around these keyboards here, beginning with the first EK68. So we can see here we've got a nice all plastic construction here. Nice cherry profile keycaps here. Of course, they're double shot PBT keycaps. On the rear of the keyboard, we have different connectivity options. So starting from the right here, we've got a USB Type-C for charging and wired connectivity. We have a switch here to toggle between Mac and Windows shortcut combinations and modifier keys. We have tri-mode connectivity here, as is pretty typical for most Epomakers. We've got Bluetooth, 2.4 gigahertz, and of course wired connectivity on this model. And we have a storage housing here for the USB dongle for 2.4G wireless connectivity. On the right hand side, not much going on. Again, love that beautiful cherry profile for those keycaps. And we have a rotary dial here that can be rotated. We've got a little bit of tactile feedback as we rotate the dial. And of course, you can press it to toggle mute and volume on by default. And we have just some nice indicator LED lights here for the battery and of course for the actual switches itself. And towards the rear end of this keyboard here, we've got again 2 levels of height adjustments. We've got 1 level here plus another level for 2 levels total of height adjustment. It angles it to, I would say, a few degrees off of the desk here, which should be sufficient for typing comfortably. Even for the most rugged, or I would say dedicated typists, you should not have any problem with these 2 levels of height adjustment. And they also have got some rubber padding here. We've got some additional rubber padding on the rubber feet on the bottom of the keyboard here. All right, let's say a few words here about the actual Epomaker EK68 switches that I've got here on both of these keyboards. So one of these purple pink ones here are actually the linear switches, the Flamingo switches that we're quite used to, quite seen on quite a few different Epomaker models. They work really well. They have a very light 35 grams initial force, 47 grams I believe is the actuation, and then finally a bottom out force of 60 grams on both of these different types of switches here. So whether you're using the linear switches, or if you prefer the more tactile Budge Rigger switches, you're going to get a very similar profile in terms of the actuation force. So this one here actually has initial actuation force of 55 grams, so a little bit heavier switch if you like to really hit your keyboard. Very well suited to, you know, those hot and heavy gaming sessions where you're really in there trying to get those kills. You're not going to be, you know, wearing these down anytime soon. Both of these switches are rated, of course, for all 100 million keystrokes, and of course we've got 3.8 millimeters of travel with these switches here. So both of these will give you a very good gaming, typing, or overall any kind of mechanical keyboard experience that you are interested in. Either of these switches that you purchase will be factory lube. They have nylon housings and they have dual springs inside and typical palm stems with these MX style for keycaps that you can pop onto here. So you should have a lot of availability for different types of keycaps, customization, and of course mix and match. If you'd like to have some keys, because these are both hot swappable keyboards, you could mix and match these to your preference. Now let's look at the keycaps here. So I'll pull off a few of these keycaps and talk about both of these and the actual overall build quality of the keycaps on these Epomakers. So let's pop out the H key on this one here. So if we take a look at these keycaps here, they're actually very nice double shot PBT keycaps with good bold font lettering. And the typography is just enough to give you enough of a backlight feel through these keyboards. And we can see here we've got typical Cherry MX style stems, so they should be compatible with not just these Epomakers, but with any other mechanical keyboard that you have with palm stems that you can hop this onto. A little bit difference in style here, as you can see here, one of the keyboards has, you know, left shifted up and towards the left hand corner for the lettering, and the other one has center. So the tactical switches here, the budge riggers on this EK68 is equipped with these centered typography and lettering, whereas the other one with the flamingo switches and the purple and black key color combination is shifted up towards the left hand corner, top left hand corner. And pairing the Epomakers is always quite simple. So you simply toggle the switch over to, let's say, Bluetooth mode. In this case, we'll see here that our keyboard, you know, boots up, and we get our connection light here. It's currently off, which means that we're not connected to any keyboard, or excuse me, any desktop or laptop computer, and we're not paired. Pairing is quite simple. You hold down the FN key and press either Q, W, or E. Will allow you to pair up to 3 devices simultaneously. You can swap between them. So we'll hold down FN and Q, and we can see here that our indicator light starts to blink fast, which means we should now be in pairing mode. Let's set this down, hop over to our desktop, and we'll select EK68. And our keyboard is now paired. We'll repeat the same for the other keyboard before we give you a typing test and a sound experience for both of these keyboards with the tactile switches and of course the linear flamingo switches from Epomaker. So again, we'll slide it over to Bluetooth mode. We get a boot up of our keyboard and we hold down function, and let's say this time we're going to use W. And in this case, we're getting a green light indicator here telling us that it's ready for pairing. Let's set this down. So again, thanks very much for watching. Please click the like button if you enjoyed this video content. Please click subscribe and hit that notification bell to help this channel grow and also to be notified when there's new content available here. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.